Hi sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button and turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all shower me here with. I am grateful. You all are super sweet. To all my members, thank you so much. So today we'll be talking something very important, and our sister, a big sister actually, analyzed this very well, and she started by saying that most times she does not understand black men during election and after election, and it is always during election they always come out to tell you, do not vote for so and so person, do not vote for this person, and they disappear. And also there was a she talked about an interview Tucker Carlson and Ice Cube had, which I actually shared here. She also shared that on her platform, but I'm going to refresh in your memory for those that have forgotten about it. And if you want to know about the interview, people were not finding that interview funny. It's about, just type Tucker Carlson and Ice Cube interview, you will see all of it come out and you can listen to them. But like, there is a very short clip for you to, like, refreshing your all's memory and all that. And then I am asking, why is it that some people during the election or before the election, I mean, they come out to say something else, and after the election, like, or before the election, during the election it's something else, after the election they are saying something. They are usually not consistent and all that, bringing all problems to black community and themselves, because some of them come out to tell you, do not vote for this person and all that. And then maybe the people they tell you not to vote, you end up seeing them, like, vibing with them and all that. Because Ice Cube actually came out sometimes to tell black people not to vote and all that. But when it's time to vote, the contract renewal, and because I feel like they signed contract with, like, maybe the people they are dealing with and all that. So I am just going to roll this clip. I don't want to talk so much. We'll come back to talk about it. Let me know what you all think in the comment section, because I feel like some of the people you all are planning to vote for, you might be voting against your interest. No, let's get into that.
I'm the woman that's going to come in and talk about these black men who are viewed as leaders in the black community. I'm going to come in and share with you all their problematic behavior, specifically when it's relating to politics and voting. I've come in and I've shared information with you in regards to Ice Cube. I have shared tons of information on Ice Cube. I've shared information on Kodak Black and Lil Wayne. I've shared information with you guys on Killer Mike and how he was moving, and how he and Nina Turner were doing some things along with the Young Turks. I've come in and told you all about Charlemagne of the Breakfast Club. I've talked about a few others as well. The reason why these individuals are problematic is because it seems that when it comes down to voting, they are put out there to try to sway black people either to vote Republican or to not vote at all. Every 2 years, Ice Cube comes out to tell black people not to vote. You don't hear from him, but when it's time to vote, that contract renews. He has to come out to either tell black people not to vote, or he has to be seen hobnobbing with people in the Republican Party. Charlemagne has been very problematic. Charlemagne and Killer Mike were very problematic for Stacey Abrams. And it is my opinion that some deals are being made behind the scenes, because why else would a black man come out to try to sway black people from, one, not voting, or two, thinking about voting or giving the other side a chance? The other side that is actively trying to erase black people across this country. But with all of the information that I have brought to you regarding these men and their problematic behavior, I also will bring in information that is surrounding these men if it's positive for the black community. The other night, Charlemagne did an interview with Piers Morgan. Yes, the same interview that Ice Cube recently did with Piers Morgan. Ice Cube has been busy. He interviewed with Piers Morgan. He interviewed with Tucker Carlson. Remember the viral video? I shared it here. I don't know if you'll be able to get it because a lot of my videos didn't come back when this account was banned. But he did an interview with Tucker Carlson where they were riding in the back, driving around California. I believe it was South Central. He did that interview with Tucker Carlson, laughing and skinning. Remember the interview he did with Joe Rogan? I also shared that here. Check the videos. Hopefully it's still available. Check the playlist and look for the title that says Traitors to Our Community. Hopefully some of those videos are still available. He also did an interview with Joe Rogan, and he also did an interview with somebody over on Fox News. But anyway, Charlemagne did an interview with Piers Morgan. Here's what he had to say.
Biden's claim there in that interview that if you're a black person in America, you should be voting for him. Let's just replay that again, just to remind viewers of this.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Now, what did you make of that when he said that? What was your instinctive reaction?
My instinctive reaction was exactly what I said in that moment. Like, it's not about Trump. It's just about me, wanting to, get something for my community. Votes are transactional. We vote for you. You do something for us. And so that's literally where my mind was at. And even with that, you ain't black comment that he made, I think he got that from black people that were around him at the time. And I think that was a granddad joke.
Right.
I think what he was trying to say is simply, if you vote for Donald Trump as a black person, you may be voting against your own interests.
Right.
What do you think about that?
As far as what do I think about what?
About what you just said about what people may have thought Biden meant. Do you think that is true? Do you think you're voting against your own interests as a black American if you vote for Trump?
Yes, I do. Because, I feel like, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And, when you talk about a country that could be leaning toward fascism because you have people in a party that are leaning toward fascism, as a black person or any minority, I don't think, you would want to live under a fascist regime. And, that's not something that, it doesn't matter what your money, how much money you have or, what your status is. If you're a person of color or a minority under a fascist regime, I don't think that's going to fare too well for you.
It doesn't end there. Charlemagne goes on to say this.
The problem at the moment, it seems, for people who share your views about that, there are many Americans who share that opinion of Trump, and there are many who still support him, is that Trump is running away with the Republican nomination race, fueled, it seems, by all these legal issues that he has. The more times he gets indicted, we're up to nearly 100 criminal charges now, the more popular he seems to get. And part of that is people thinking it's the establishment trying to destroy him, and people don't like that in America. Even if they don't agree necessarily with Trump's political views, they just think he's getting put upon and victimized. Is all this backfiring, do you think? Just as a reality check about the political environment?
I kind of expected this. Like, I knew that it was an easy call for him to say that it's a witch hunt. I kind of predicted that. If you was listening to, my radio show, The Breakfast Club, and my podcast, The Brilliant Idiots, I was saying that, I could see a lot of this working in his favor now. I don't know how it's going to work in a general election because I think you have a lot of independent voters. I don't know if they'll necessarily, show up for him. And, those hypothetical swing voters who, voted for President Obama one year and then came back and voted for, Trump another year. They might have came back and, voted for President Biden. I don't know if they're necessarily going to show up. But the thing I find interesting about Trump, President Trump, the most is that, you have 91 criminal charges. What is it? Four indictments. I haven't heard him talk about policy at all.
No.
I haven't heard him talk about, any legislation he wants to implement at all. Every time he's getting on television, it's about the witch hunt and it's about the charges against him. And to me, man, I would have to look at the people who are supporting him and say, well, what are y'all supporting? because he's not even out there campaigning.
Right. That's it right there. What are y'all supporting? He ain't told y'all nothing about what he plans to do policy-wise. He ain't told y'all nothing about what he plans to do for you as the taxpayer. He ain't said nothing about how he's going to make life better for you. He has not talked about legislation. He ain't talked about no health care. He ain't talked about reducing taxes. He ain't talked about Social Security and Medicare. He ain't talked about infrastructure. He ain't talked about roads. He ain't talked about abortions. He ain't talked about nothing. But the election was stolen from him. And we all know, based on all the evidence that we've seen and the fact that he's facing 91 counts, we all know that is a lie. Listen, if you stayed to the end, thank you. Charlemagne, I ain't feeling Charlemagne, but when he's right, I'm going to share it. I ain't feeling none of these black men that run amongst them that circle. But when they right, I will definitely be bringing it into you. So y'all know.
We've been talking almost all day now. You haven't mentioned race a single time. We've mentioned economics, rich and poor, a number of times. Do you think that we overplay the role of racial conflict in American life?
Yes. I think race, it takes up too much space. There's people that we all have in our lives who are same race that we can't stand. And there's people in our lives from other races that we get along with way better. So it's not about race. It's not about color and gender and this and that. It's about who do you connect with? Who do you vibrate with? You know what I mean? Who's on the same wavelength? Who wants to be the same kind of person? Who wants to do the right thing when you want to do the right thing? That's who you connect with. So I think a lot of people make a lot of money off of the racists fighting against each other and bickering. And they the ones who push it in our face all the time that we're separate. And
does feel like there's more of that, doesn't there?
Yeah, it seems like it's like you're stuck in a bad movie and you can't get out. Like you can't find the exit and it continues to play on the screen and you're just running around looking for the exit, and this bad movie continues to just haunt you day by day by day by day. That's what we're caught in. A never-ending, winless battle of race and color, and we're worried about, where you're from, and, hip hop. What's great about hip hop, like, it was a saying in hip hop, early hip hop. I think Rakim coined this phrase. It ain't where you from, it's where you at. And it's so true. It's not about where you come from. It's about where you at right now.
I'm not imagining that this stuff is being pushed on us, right?
No.
Much more than in, say, 1986.
Yes, I think so. Because in 1986, you had movies and television.
So as you can see from my screen grab, I have Tucker Carlson and Ice Cube. And they look pretty happy. You probably would have thought from past interviews that Tucker has done, or from Ice Cube's rap lyrics from the past, you would have thought this pairing would have never happened. Or at least that's what I thought. So initially, by hearing about this interview, I think it's a two-part interview, I had a lot of questions like, why is Ice Cube sitting down with Tucker Carlson? Now, I believe you should have conversations with all types of people, but this one was, I feel like, was very strategic. And so I had to ask myself, why? So if you've watched Tucker before, you know he has said some awful things about rappers, black people. He has even lied, hence why he's not at Fox News anymore. Just his commentary has been very distasteful, especially to people who look like him and that are in a profession like him. And so initially I thought Ice Cube must be promoting something. That's the only way he would sit down with Tucker. And I was right. So as you know, or maybe you don't know, Ice Cube has the Big Three, which is basically like the NBA, but it's for retired or previous players in the NBA who want to continue playing. It's a different platform. It's different teams, 3-on-3, basically. That's the concept. 3 players from one team, 3 players against another, play against each other, the Big Three. And I've heard a lot of commentary from Ice Cube that he's getting pushback from the NBA mainly because of his skin and because he thinks the NBA thinks the Big Three will be competition. So some of that may be true. I don't know. Again, I don't know the ins and outs. But again, I was perplexed by this meeting. And so I watched it. Like I said, it's 2 parts. And I have to say, I don't know this Ice Cube in 2023. Scratch that. I don't know him at all. But I know his history. I know his work. I know his rap lyrics. I know his entertainment, television career, movie career, etc., etc. I know he had the black contract for black people as well. So I do know those type of things. And so if you go off of history in what he's always preached about, I don't see this. But see, that's the problem. I don't think that's the same Ice Cube. So just some takeaways for me of why I respect Ice Cube for what he has done for the community, but I just think him trying to promote the Big Three has really changed his perspective, or maybe his strategic way of trying to get partnership or collaboration with the NBA. I think it's changed his thought processes. For example, I felt like Tucker was baiting Ice Cube. You say, how do you bait Ice Cube? Like this. So Tucker made a comment about, we use our race too much. Do we think race plays a part in what's going on in society? And I'm summarizing. And Ice Cube was like, I think we basically dive too much into race. Not everything is about race. But pause. You just said you're not able to do collaboration with the NBA because of your skin color. Is that not race? Very contradictory to me. Again, why I feel like Tucker was baiting the conversation. It was kind of like Tucker would say a question. Ice Cube would be like, yes, Tucker, that's correct. That's how I felt. And it was so odd to see. Another thing was odd was this ride along they did. Tucker Carlson is riding along with Ice Cube in his old neighborhood. It's comical to me. This is the same man that talks, or in the past has talked about our black neighborhoods, our black community, how people are in their communities, and how we are as a whole. But yet you see that smile and that one? What is so damn funny? And I'm shocked that Ice Cube never really challenged Tucker. And again, this is all promotion and strategic. Ice Cube would talk to anybody he can to get this thing out with the Big Three. I would suggest people go watch it themselves. I'm kind of still in shock about it, just because like I said, I respect Ice Cube. I don't know this man. This man, Ice Cube, warned us about men like him in his lyrics. But yet, So I'm confused. What Ice Cube do I listen to? The past or the present? Another example of him saying it shouldn't be about race, or we use race too much. Ice Cube had a contract with Black America. Why would you create a contract with Black America about prosperity, financial literacy, political advantages? Why would you create a contract for Black people if it wasn't about race? Now, mind you, the contract was to say how we're being mistreated in the financial institutions, how we're not able to play on the same playing field as people like Tucker. So if that's how you felt then, do you still feel that way now? Like, there was just no challenges in this. Again, I felt like Ice Cube just sat there. Yes. And even with the COVID situation, it is what it is. You know, he get praised for you know, not taking $9 million because shot. Cool, great, awesome. But I felt like there was some discrepancies in that as well. And what works for you may not work for everybody else. That conversation to me was basically aligning with Tucker. Everything Tucker was saying, Ice Cube was aligning with. They talked about the George Floyd situation, Black Lives Matter, of course, the NBA. They even brought up Oprah, the gatekeeper. So to sum this video up, please go watch it. You know, I'm just telling you how I felt in my opinions about it, but everyone should go watch it. And you tell me what you think, because to me, I don't know this person. And it could be because when you're promoting something or when you're trying to get something out, you are willing to lower certain parts of you and maybe even parts of your thinking to get that accomplished. Is that what he's doing? I don't know. But again, I feel like how he has been in the past versus how he was in this 2-part interview, or 2 different people spreading 2 different type of messages. And I'm confused, Ice Cube. I'm confused. So y'all go check that out. And let me know your thoughts.
So this is all I got from this. And yeah, I remember when Tucker Carlson had this interview with Ice Cube, and a lot of people were not like happy about that. And Ice Cube said it is not all about race. But how is it not all about race? He is promoting his I think NBA something, and he actually approached some media to speak to them about his plan, and they refused. They did not let him. So I mean, this interview really, like, you know, if you type it on your TikTok or something, you are going to see the different parts of this interview and all that. So when Tabitha, the first person that spoke, talked about it, how Black men, how they act before election and how they act after election are just 2 different things. So I also decided to bring it for some people that probably did not see the interview, so they can have at least a heads up about what the interview was and all that. And they talked about so many things, Oprah, and how they I think they asked that, like, you know, Ice Cube was like, some people do not want me in his show and all that. So of all the people that didn't, I know he actually went to this person, this Tucker Carlson, just to promote his show, and I think NBA or something, just to promote it. But people were not happy because you all know Tucker Carlson is a very red to the season person and all that. He is just so much against Black people. Anything that will bring him views, anything that we like, you know, that is, if it's just something that is going to divide Black community, he's just in for it. So when Ice Cube said everything is not all about race, that is where, I mean, everything is actually about race, because we did not create this race war and all that. They actually did create it. And if there is anybody to solve it or dismantle it, it's actually them and all that. So let's go back to the first video where Tabitha was talking about the interview the Shaloman, I think, had. And he was saying that if you are voting for what's his name again? Trump. You are voting against your interests and against black people's interests, which is true. And you can imagine someone that does not even have a plan, agenda, and all that. You still see people coming out to say, yeah, I am voting Trump and all that. I do not have problem with whoever anybody wants to vote, because I see some people, the other day I talked about it, I see some people saying, I am voting for Trump. I don't care. I also do not care. I mean, you are voting, you are selling your birthright and all that. But when the problem that comes with what you voted for starts, do not come up here screaming that, I mean, things are going back and all that. He said he want to make America great again, like it was all great for black people and all that. So, yeah, if you are voting for him, you are voting against your interests. You are not voting for the interests of black community and all that. All that. Have you ever seen him campaigning? He has not been campaigning. And so what is he even going to do for you that makes you want to vote for him? Has he ever, like, you know, talked about his agenda and all that? I mean, this is where I'm going to draw the curtain. Thank you so much for the support, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.